This is Smojo, and you listen to InYourHeadOnline.com.
This is Nigel McGuinness, one of the greatest upcoming stars in the wrestling business, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, we are back. We're joined by the man who brought Ring of Honor to pay-per-view, Ken Gelman. Welcome to In Your Head.
Thanks so much, guys. Pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, happy to have you here. Glad you can make it. Glad you didn't. You weren't at the Bruce Springsteen concert.
It was tempting.
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to plug ROHWrestling.com, of course, and everybody know that all month long you can check out Ring of Honor Driven, their second pay-per-view. Which now, did they seek you out to to bring Ring of Honor to pay-per-view, or was this something that you pursued yourself?
Well, we were actually put together by a mutual friend about a year and a half ago. I was just on my final days at WWE and sort of looking to go out on my own and seek out a new path. And a mutual friend had connected us, myself with Carrie Silkin and Sidney Ike from ROH. And we sat down and we sort of quickly realized there was a good fit here. They had a dynamic product, and I had some very, very relevant experience in sort of the television and marketing world. So it was pretty much fate how it all worked out, but I think we realized pretty quickly that we could help one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was this something that you thought you believed in when you saw the Ring of Honor product? That this is something that could appeal to like a larger audience?
Well, it was really funny. I had known about Ring of Honor when I was at WWE, but I had never seen a live event. So I had heard all the stories about this up-and-coming promotion and how they were really the class of the indies, if you will, at that point. And, seeing a live event for the first time, it took me all 30 seconds to realize that this product was so unique and unlike anything else on the scene today. So really, once I saw it live, I was hooked, and I realized that this thing really was viable beyond their current scope.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's important, that it is different than the wrestling you see on TV?
Well, I think it's important to be able to stand out no matter who you are. I think the promotions that are on television right now, and obviously the big two with WWE and TNA, they do a lot of things well, but they are who they are. And I think if you're going to compete, or at least even try to offer something up that people want to see, you've got to stand out in your own way. And I really appreciated that about Ring of Honor right off the bat, that they were just not your wannabe WWE or TNA product. They were their own thing. And to me, growing up as a wrestling fan, it really sort of harkened back to an earlier time in wrestling when it was much more about what happened in the ring with the little storylines thrown in. And, seeing the athleticism and the high-flying acts that were in the ring the first time out for Ring of Honor, for me, I just realized that this was something that really needed to be shown on a bigger stage.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope to accomplish with bringing Ring of Honor to pay-per-view? Do you want it to, the current fans to tune in for them, or do you hope it opens it up to a whole new audience?
Well, we hope to grow the audience. I mean, certainly the fans that we do have are as loyal and passionate as any in the sport, and that is a real benefit for us right out of the gate. And we've been very fortunate that our fans have supported the pay-per-views and really are passionate about where the company is headed. But, for a group like Ring of Honor and the product they have and the size that they are right now, this is a deal that really is about a first step, if you will, in exposing this product to the masses. So, in short, it is about really growing the base and opening this product up to many people that haven't been exposed to it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, the fans are so enthusiastic at the show and everything. You think that's something that really that also adds to it, to if a bigger audience sees it for the first time and they see all the fans just, really cheering all these guys, that kind of makes them think, well, these are people that not only they're doing moves that are great also, but all these people are reacting to them, so it's something that something important.
Well, one thing I realized being at WWE is that fans come and go, but the emotional connections that they make with the athletes in the ring last can last in a lot of cases a lifetime. And one thing that this product really has done well is the talent that they have in the ring. It's about connecting with the fans. And in my humble opinion, the folks that we have at Ring of Honor in the locker room do it better than any in the sport. So when you see a live event and you see the fans going crazy, it's not just about what they're doing, with their moves or athleticism, which is obviously a big part of it, but more than that, they're really making connections with the fans that we have, and I think that rings true. And when you see it on television or you see it live, you really just feel the passion that these people have for the athletes that are competing.
Do you think that's something that maybe a non-Ring of Honor fan, they kind of have a stigma towards the product? They think it is just guys flying around, but they don't realize that there are a lot of guys that have like a lot of personality. Guys can cut promos like a Larry Sweeney, and there's more to it than just guys flying around.
Absolutely. Obviously I'm biased because I'm on the team here, but trying to give you my objective opinion. I mean, look, we all grew up with WWF and WWE, and we love it for what it is, and they do a great job with the product. But I think the thing that you see with ROH is that you've got sort of the best of both worlds. You've got these great athletes, but they know how to sell, and they have personality. And the fans, as we were just speaking about, would not be as passionate as they are without those facts. So I think, for someone that I introduced this product to that has been a wrestling fan or even likes wrestling a little bit but hasn't been exposed to ROH, once they sit down and watch a live event or watch a pay-per-view on television or watch a DVD, it's pretty instant. They get that this is about more than just some little independent wrestling promotion. It's much greater than that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say you want the Ring of Honor pay-per-views to open up to a new audience. Is that kind of hard to focus in on the pay-per-view, not necessarily on the culmination of a feud, since you want to introduce new people to the product? So like a new person could just come in and watch the show without necessarily following the product for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That is something that Gabe Sapolsky, who is the resident booker at ROH, I think has done a marvelous job at balancing. Certainly, we don't want to cheat the fans that we do have that are intently following Ring of Honor on a daily basis. So the nice thing about the pay-per-views, and I really give all the credit to Gabe, is that he's balanced the booking with the product in the ring that fans that follow ROH throughout can get behind, and then new fans can get behind. And if you just haven't seen any other Ring of Honor product and only are being exposed to pay-per-view for the first time as your introduction to ROH, you'll get it. And on a parallel track, if you do follow ROH, you appreciate what's going on as well. So the way Gabe has really booked the matches in the ring kind of serve both parties.
Right. You want to make the current fans happy and make it accessible for new fans.
No question, and that's really again a tribute to Gabe and what he's been able to do with this product, particularly on pay-per-view.
We get a caller here. We got Ryron on the line.
Yes, hello, and good evening.
Hello.
You said earlier about how this company is differentiating itself from TNA and WWE. I think so far it's done an excellent job of that, especially since that you're going to live events and you're at the live events, and you're able to watch the crowd as well as be privy to backstage information on how buy rates are going. Which stars do you think can really break out and carry the banner of the company and really establish it as something different in the long term?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about where the company's at now. I think if you look at where we were a year or so ago, many of the big names were sort of TNA names like Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and others. And really, the locker room has stepped up in a big way. As you see breakout stars, obviously our new champion, Nigel McGuinness, who just won the title on this past Saturday in New Jersey, is someone that that I personally enjoy watching, and I think he's a kind of charismatic guy in and out of the ring that really will represent ROH well. But, all down the line, from the tag teams of the Briscoe brothers and Steen and Generico, and some of the factions like the Age of the Fall now coming into fold, and of course, the individual wrestlers. And Bryan Danielson, he's billed as the best wrestler in the world, and frankly, seeing his matches live, I have to agree with that. He's just superior talent-wise. So I think the nice thing about where the company is now is you've got several guys in the locker room, and gals for that matter, that really can become breakout stars and lead ROH into a new era.
Do you have anything else, Myron?
Yes, I was curious what the differences are, since you worked with WWE and now we're working with Ring of Honor, what the differences are in your activity between the two companies.
Well, at WWE, my role was as a marketing director, but my primary focus was the marketing with the television partners. So I worked specifically with our pay-per-view product and all the cable and satellite partners. I worked with USA and Spike on the Raw product, and at the time UPN for SmackDown. And I worked with all the television stations domestically and internationally on our syndicated platform. So my role was really one of a marketing and a television role, but it was pretty well defined. Here at ROH, that's the primary focus for me is developing new opportunities, new platforms like getting on pay-per-view and hopefully expanding the kind of distribution that the product has. As well as just really anything business development related, anything sponsorship related, or anything having to do with, really bringing new partners and new opportunities to the company. So I'm really enjoying my time here with ROH, and they've just been nothing but a first-class organization to me.
What other plans do you have besides the pay-per-view? Would you like to bring it to TV? As a free TV show?
Absolutely. I mean, we're really actively looking at opportunities to grow this company. Certainly, additional distribution platforms, both domestically here in the States as well as internationally, are of interest to us. I mean, everything from television, your sort of free over-the-air television, to online opportunities and additional DVD opportunities. We just announced a DVD relationship with Koch Media, where we're going to be in retail outlets beginning in 2008. So that's another example of where we're looking to grow the availability of the product, if you will, the distribution, so that more people have access to it in more places. So yeah, really anywhere where we can further the brand and expose it to people and hopefully grow it, we're looking to do.
Did you have a question there, Intra?
I was actually wondering if you thought high definition was on the horizon anytime, like HD product.
We'd love to film in high def. Obviously, there are production considerations, so we hope to get to a point where high def becomes the norm for us. But I would say, to be realistic, we're not close at this point. But certainly, long term, I think that's something that we'd really be interested in.
We got a caller here. Who is this? Hello?
Spencer.
You have to speak up a little bit.
This is Spencer.
Okay, you have a question for Ken Gelman?
I want the Rey Mysterio mask.
All right. We actually got Santo here on the line. Do you have a question, Santo?
Yes, I do. To ask, I don't know if you mentioned yet about if you're thinking about expanding maybe a little bit to Mexico and working with one of the promotions over there. I know with AAA was working with TNA at the time, but now with the relations between Conan and Jeff Jarrett ain't doing too good. I was thinking Could you maybe have relations with the guys over there in AAA or maybe in CMLL?
Oh, it's an excellent question. Unfortunately, it's one I can't answer for you. I probably turn that over to the real wrestling guys in the company like Gabe and Carrie to speak to. But I'll just say this as sort of a general answer. To the point we were speaking about earlier, anything that we can do as a company to expand our horizons and partner with, either with companies or organizations that are going to further our brand, we'd be interested in. But from a wrestling standpoint and sort of the different promotions that are out there, it's really something that Carrie and Gabe and Sid would probably speak better to.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that was really it. All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy the product, too.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Santo.
Got you.
Yeah. Were there any plans to do a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, like in another country?
Well, you never know. At this stage there isn't, but we're only really focused on the next couple. So you never know. As you know, the company has in the last several months been over in the UK and been in Japan and elsewhere outside of the country. So really, it's a good sign that the product is growing beyond the domestic stage, and you never know. We could be in a position down the road to film one or more outside of the country.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Driven was the second pay-per-view. The first, Respect Is Earned, debuted to basically unanimous praise. I don't know how far you want to get into it, but do you have a basic number of what you expected to get in terms of buys for Respect Is Earned and what you actually picked up?
Well, we do have some expectations, but respectfully, we kind of keep that behind closed doors. It's really something as a policy we don't talk specific numbers outside. But I will say this: with the response has been overwhelming, and the numbers in our minds have been really have exceeded our expectations. So. With that said, we're obviously hungry for more, and we want to continue to grow it. But things are really going in a positive direction as far as the pay-per-view numbers are concerned.
You try not to go too far too soon, because Ring of Honor actually hasn't done that. But there have been other companies that try to get a pay-per-view, try to do TV, and it really they spent millions of dollars and went out of business.
Right. Well, the nice thing for us, I think it's sort of twofold. Is one, this is really an extension of what the company's been doing. Mm-hmm. We've been producing live events. We've been filming them for home video release. And this is really kind of just an extension of the current model, filming these for pay-per-view. But, knowing the pay-per-view landscape the way I do, having been in it for the last 12 years or so with different companies, I realized that, it's not just about getting a pay-per-view deal and throwing it out there. I mean, you've got to know how to market it. You also have to know from an affiliate standpoint how to work with the different partners, the cable and the satellite partners. It's not just about getting a deal done. You have the experience and the know-how to really market this thing successfully and work with these partners in a meaningful way. So that was fortunately something I was able to bring to the table here with the ROH guys. But of course, if you don't have a great product, you're not going to be in business very long. And that's something I realized right away, is that this is a tremendous product and really unlike anything out in the marketplace right now.
Yeah. And it already has a history behind it and a built-in audience that you can build from.
Absolutely, and that's certainly a big key anytime you're going into a venture like this.
Was there any opposition when you were trying to get it on pay-per-view?
Opposition in terms of what, internally?
Well, actually both, I guess. Maybe the people at Ring of Honor didn't think it was a good idea. Maybe they didn't think there was anything to benefit them, or was there anybody that was just against having a wrestling program on their pay-per-view?
Well,
or another wrestling program?
It was interesting. I mean, internally, I think everyone was in agreement that if this was done the right way and it wasn't something where we had to spend a ton of incremental dollars, it made total sense, and it makes sense in terms of expanding your base, and it's just a next step, if you will, in sort of evolving this product and growing it. So that wasn't really an issue. As far as our discussions with all the pay-per-view companies, we met with a little bit of resistance at first, especially. We had to educate people on who we are and what we do, and obviously not all the business decision makers are wrestling fans, so they didn't really know too much about ROH. So we really had to educate them, and I was fortunate through the previous relationships I built up from WWE and my days in the National Hockey League that I was able to call on these folks and really get the right meetings and get us to the table. But then we had to sell ourselves, and in most cases, in a couple of cases, right off the bat, people got it. In another case, we had to bring them to a live event to show them, and then they got it. And in the case of DirecTV, where we're still talking with them and hopeful that we'll be on their platform soon enough, we're still negotiating. So it's been a combination of people believing it right off the bat and having to be convinced, I think.
I mean, everyone knows this. There's a lot of controversy and negativity right now around wrestling and some other sports. Do you think the Ring of Honor style was like a huge plus because you can market it around the athleticism instead of just like the physical size of the wrestlers?
Well, I think first off, obviously what's been going on in the industry isn't good for anybody.
Right.
And obviously some of the stories, particularly the Benoit story, was sort of something that kind of transcended our business. So on a lot of levels, it's been a hard road for everyone that's been associated with the business. I do think, though, that our product is unique enough where it does stand on its own a little bit, and it is something that we do feel we can differentiate from the other products that are out there. So I do think there are some advantages to the product we have, but the bottom line is the negative stories that are out there really aren't good for anyone, particularly in the mainstream like this, and particularly when you're dealing with companies that perhaps don't have the perspective that you and I might, being in the business. They just know the sensational stories that are out there and what's going on with the Benoit situation and steroids and all these things that are coming out. So it's always a constant challenge and a constant education to really get people to rally around this the right way.
Did you guys have any other questions from the board?
Myron wants to know, what are you looking to do at Man Up that Respect is Earned and Driven didn't do for the product?
Well, I think with Man Up, being the third pay-per-view, it's just another chance for us to show why we have, in our opinion, the best product out there in the market. I think Respect is Earned was a good introduction for people that had not seen the product. I think Driven sort of took it to the next level with some of the fantastic matches, including a real match of the year candidate with Danielson and McGuinness. And Man Up, for those that were there live in Chicago like I was, it just something that was astounding. It really just blew us all away. And in particular, I think fans of all shapes and sizes are really going to go nuts for the ladder war match that the Briscoes and Dean and Generico had. It was truly a mind-blowing main event for the pay-per-view. And obviously there's been a lot of controversy that came out after it with the whole Age of the Fall angle and everything that's going on there. But as far as what we're trying to do, I think it's really just continually just showing people why we're different and why they're seeing the best value in all of sports today with this product.
Was the time frame something you thought of? Because a lot of the DVDs are 3 or 4 hours, and the pay-per-views too. If you buy a DVD, you can watch it at your leisure. If you buy a pay-per-view, you're probably gonna sit down and watch the whole thing at once. Do you think the 2 hours kind of works better for that than 3 or 4 hours?
Well, 2 hours works better for the platform. We did consult with all the companies, and 2 hours really worked better for them because it meant more replays, it meant better scheduling. I think if you have live events like WWE puts on and others, where you can slot in 3 hours and it's appointment television, it's one thing. I think for a property like ours, a 2-hour window really makes a lot of sense to keep the pace moving quickly, and also just being able to have some flexibility in the schedule so that you can get the most replays and get the best placement you can on cable and satellite systems. So 2 hours for us really worked well.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell everybody out there? Why they should pick up the pay-per-views? Why they should, follow the Ring of Honor product?
Well, if you follow Ring of Honor, this shouldn't be anything new to you. But if you haven't been exposed to our brand of wrestling, I implore you to check it out. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to form your own opinion. Because like myself, I'm confident that once you see the product, once you get a taste of it, there's no going back. It is, in our minds, the best product on the market today. And really, I think most people will just be blown away with the athleticism, with the amount of wrestling, the just incredible product in the ring that you'll see on these pay-per-views. So form your own opinion, but by all means, don't be left out. Check it out. We've got ROH Driven right now on cable and satellite systems here in the States, and Man Up will be debuting on November 30th. So the future is looking bright for Ring of Honor on pay-per-view and beyond.
Well, really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. Anytime.
Okay, cool. Can we keep you here for 1 minute?
Yes.
This is Christopher Daniels, and the Gospel According to the Fallen Angel says that you are listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.